Okay, what if I told you that you could fundamentally supercharge your child's brain development, and that you could do it using 5 tiny habits, things you probably already have all the tools for? We're gonna dive into this because the science here is, well, it's absolutely incredible.
First, you just have to get your head around the sheer speed of what's happening inside that little head. In the first few years of life, your child's brain is forging up to 1 million neural connections. Not per day, not per hour, every single second. It's just this incredible explosion of growth.
Now, I know seeing a number that big can feel, well, a little overwhelming, right? But here's the best part. You don't need fancy, expensive programs or a PhD in child development to nurture this. The most powerful tools are actually simple, daily habits that fit right into the life you're already living.
And that brings us to our very first habit, which is really the foundation for everything else. It's a little communication game called Serve and Return.
So what on earth is it? Honestly, it's as simple as this quote makes it sound. Think about it. Your baby makes a little cooing sound, that's a serve. You smile and coo back, that's a return. They point at the dog, you say, that's the doggy. Serve, return. It's this beautiful, simple back and forth dance.
But what's really happening in the brain during that little tennis match? Well, every single one of those back and forths strengthens the literal pathways for communication, making them faster and more efficient. And you're not just building language skills, you're laying down the essential brain circuits for managing emotions and even learning how to take turns later in life.
So you know that moment when your toddler hands you the same toy for the 15th time in a row? Try to remember this. That repetition isn't designed to test your sanity. It's their brain firing on all cylinders, practicing that serve and return, just begging for you to hit the ball back. It is literally their brain growing right in front of you.
All right, let's move on to our second habit. This one opens up entire new worlds for your child's brain, and all it takes is reading just 1 book a day. And I know what you're thinking, right? They can't even read the words yet. Why does this really matter so early on? And the answer, in a word, is vocabulary.
The impact here is just staggering. Reading 1 simple picture book a day can expose a child to around 78,000 more words every year, compared to a child who isn't read to. And we're not just talking about any words, we're talking about richer words like magnificent or explore that they might not hear in everyday chit-chat. And it's not just about the number of words. The act of reading itself lights up so many parts of the brain at once. You've got the language centers firing, of course, but also attention, imagination, and this really crucial skill called symbolic thinking. That's the brain understanding that a drawing of a lion represents a real lion. You're not just reading a story, you're literally building a brain that is wired and ready to learn.
Okay, on to habit number 3. Now this one might seem a little boring, but I promise you it is one of the most powerful things you can do for your child's learning and memory. And that is a consistent sleep routine.
I absolutely love this description because it's so true. For the very architecture of their developing brain, getting sleep right is nothing short of a total game changer. And look, consistent doesn't mean you have to be super rigid or stressed about it. It just means the same general steps in roughly the same order around the same time each night. You know, whatever works for your family. A bath, a book, a little song. That rhythm becomes this powerful signal to the brain that it's time to get ready for its most important job of the day.
Because sleep is anything but passive. It's the brain's essential night shift. This is when the brain gets to work, strengthening all the important connections made during the day, cleaning out the stuff it doesn't need, and this is the big one, transferring all that new learning from short-term to long-term memory. A well-rested brain is a brain that's literally primed and ready to learn the next morning. Okay, let's talk about habit 4. And I'll warn you, this one can feel a little counterintuitive. It goes against our protective instincts as parents. It's the habit of allowing for manageable struggle. So you know that moment when your child gets really frustrated? Maybe they just can't get that block to fit into the right hole? Our instinct is to jump in and fix it for them. But the real brain-building move? It's to pause, just for a few seconds. Give them a moment to try and figure it out themselves.
The key here is to understand that those little moments of frustration, they are incredibly productive. They're like little reps at the gym, but for the brain. They build emotional resilience, problem-solving skills, and they actually strengthen the prefrontal cortex. That's the part of the brain responsible for things like self-control and planning.
So the next time you see them wrestling with a puzzle piece or a tricky toy, just take a breath. What you're witnessing isn't just frustration.
You are literally watching their brain forge new, stronger connections in real time.
Okay, let's bring it home with our fifth and final habit. And then we're going to tie all of this together with one big, simple idea that I think you'll really love. Habit 5 is simple. Let them help. This is all about reframing chores. They're not just work you have to get done, they're brain-building activities in disguise. I mean, even a tiny toddler handing you socks from the laundry basket or a preschooler helping sort Tupperware, they are doing really important work.
Because look at what these simple tasks are strengthening. Executive functions, that's the brain's CEO, in charge of planning and finishing a task. Motor skills, sequencing, and even cognitive flexibility, which is just a fancy way of saying their brain is learning to switch between different rules, like sorting by color and then by size. Plus, it builds this incredible sense of confidence, that feeling of, hey, I can do this, which is so powerful for all future learning.
So here they are all together. 5 tiny daily actions. That back and forth game of serve and return. The world inside one book. The amazing power of consistent sleep. The growth that comes from a small struggle. And the confidence they get from helping out. And you know what? None of them cost a single penny.
You know, if you only take one thing away from all this, let it be this idea. Think of yourself as a brain gardener. You are tending to the most complex and beautiful garden in the entire world. Every little game of peekaboo is the water. Every storybook is a seed you plant. Consistent sleep is the rich soil. Allowing them to struggle a little bit, that's the sun they need to grow strong. And letting them help? Well, that's watching them enjoy the harvest of their own incredible growing skills. These aren't new, overwhelming things to add to your to-do list. They're just small shifts in how you see the things you're probably already doing. You are building a brain one tiny, loving interaction at a time. And you're doing a great job. You've got this.